Hello, my name's Priscilla. In the battle against COVID-19, we hear a lot about PPE, personal protective equipment, things like gloves and masks and gowns that are designed to protect us. But Paul writes in his letter to the Ephesians that our battle is also against spiritual forces of evil. These might include fear or despair or depression. We need to be armed with spiritual protective clothing against what Paul calls the devil's schemes. So I'm just going to read from Ephesians chapter 6, verses 13 to 18. Therefore, put on the full armour of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you've done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. So let's have a look at this spiritual PPE. Well, some of the spiritual PPE is defensive. The belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, and the helmet of salvation. This is all about reminding ourselves when we're feeling fearful or down of God's truth. In faith, we can believe that Jesus has already won the victory. He's saved us and made us right with God. He loves us and protects us. And that should bring us joy and encourage us when we reflect on it. Some of the spiritual PPE is offensive, made for attack. The feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and praying in the Spirit. So we can take action against our fear and depression and despair by focusing on how we can share the gospel of peace, how we can read and meditate on the Bible, and how we can pray on all occasions in the Spirit. By focusing upwards and outwards like this on God and the world around us, we may be filled with peace and joy. So put on your spiritual PPE each day, knowing that Christ has won the victory, and that brings us complete protection. Amen.